Welcome back to another video of the Footy Nuffies.
That was quick. Geez, that was a good welcome. Good to be back. Thanks to everyone that's liked and subscribed. And please, we'll pop the links there. Please continue to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with your friends and family. And where else can they find us, mate, if they need to find us?
TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, if you prefer to listen to it when you're out driving or on the train or walking or running or riding or something, just flick over to the podcast and have a listen there. It's the same episode. And try and put out some short form stuff as well on TikTok and Instagram. But, always the long format, though, every Tuesday for the round recap.
Well, most Tuesdays.
Most Tuesdays. Last week we had some technical difficulties, didn't we?
Yeah, didn't it end up being Wednesday?
It did. But this week is Tuesday. But let's get into it, mate. In the news, what's making news?
Mid-season draft.
Mid-season draft, yeah. So Wednesday night, I believe. I saw something like it might be over 2 weeks. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But anyway, Wednesday night.
Yeah, and I read that we expect to see some ex-AFL players.
Yeah, I did see that.
I saw that on the AFL app too.
Yeah.
Harford and Kruger might be there.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a few ex-AFL players that'll get picked up. Obviously, Essendon, I think, is taking four potential. I mean, they might not pick up 4 players, but they've got the ability to with their 4-season-ending injuries. So yeah, it'll be interesting to watch and see who gets picked up. If there's any, Paddy McCartan and who's the other McCartan at Sydney? Is it Tom McCartan?
Yeah.
Anyway, might be Tom. But their brother was playing down at Lawn in the Colac District
CDFL?
CDFL? Yeah, I think it might be that one. Anyway, playing down there, and then may have played some Geelong Reserves games this year as well. But
for the Cats.
Yeah, but looking like a real good prospect, key defender.
Like his brother.
Yeah, similar build to his brothers. So might be a mature age pickup there for one team. We'll see. We'll know in probably 24 hours or 48 hours. So yeah, some of the examples of mid-season draftees. Blokes like Jai Newcomb, who's an absolute superstar for Hawthorn. John Noble. He's going really well for Gold Coast. Marlon Pickett, who actually got drafted, then played reserves in the VFL, played in a VFL grand final for Richmond, and then the following week made his AFL debut
in an
AFL grand final when they won. So.
And he got a goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one's Sam Durham.
Yeah, but he was like 27 when he got 2.
Yeah, but actually, that's what I was going to say. It is a good reminder for all those young and aspiring footballers. If you have missed out on the draft, in what you would consider your draft year, it might be when you turn 18, to not give up. If you've got the ability and the willpower, to stick at it, keep improving your craft, your trade, and that might be at the VFL level, or it might be, for us down here in the Geelong Footy League, or Oliver Wiltshire, he was in the Ballerine Footy League for Bowen Head. So there's still opportunities. You can't just give up if you've got,
like Sean Manor, he's another one. He was like
25, 26. James Podsiadley back in 2010 for Geelong, he was 28, I think. Ended up playing in a flag for Geelong, and then he might have played 120 games thereabouts. Oh, it was 15 years ago, but he wasn't a mid-season draft. He got picked up.
But he's like 27.
Yeah. All right, next one there, mate. I might help you with that because just the spelling, but Ross the Boss calling the Suns, the Gold Coast Suns, on Sunday on their graveyard shift they had Sunday twilight.
Yeah.
He called the Suns the Nepo, the AFL's Nepo baby, so as if to suggest that the Suns get well looked after by the AFL, which they probably do with some respect. But then Dimmer Hardwick's come out after the game, and the journos have said to him in the post-match press conference, what did you think of those comments? And he said, he more or less just said, gosh, old Ross needs to just focus on his own team. They got, 13,000 fans to a game on a Sunday. They're not winning, so he just needs to focus on his own team. So, yeah, some hard-hitting comments from Dimmer Hardwick there, which I I thought was pretty funny, but probably called for. Old Ross the boss, we'll talk about St Kilda later. They're in a world of pain. Next one there, mate, is
Foo Fighters.
Yeah, there are some whispers. There was some talks back in 2014, I think it might have been, that the Gillum McLaughlin, the CEO at the time, met up with the Footies over in LA or their representatives, and they were perhaps keen to do the grand final all the way back then. Anyway, fast forward 10 or 11 years, and the Foo Fighters are actually playing in Indonesia about 5 days after the AFL grand finals. So there is speculation that their calendars are lining up. Potentially, they could play the grand final, and if they do, that would be a hell of a show. We went, Dad and I went last year. Poppy and I went last year to see.
I can't go.
No, well, lucky we're full MCC members, so we can either get a ticket in the ballot or just go and line up nice and early. But last year we got a ticket in the ballot, which was great. It was an absolute fizzer of a match, but pre-game entertainment was not too bad. But yeah, the Fooies, they would be enormous live on grand final day. They would be absolutely enormous. Next one there, mate. You might not have seen that one, or maybe you have. You have now anyway.
What?
3-match ban for Alex Pearce. Did you see that hit that he laid on Darcy Byrne-Jones? They were both going for the ball. It was wet conditions, and he left the ground. And his shoulder collected Darcy Byrne-Jones, and then Darcy was concussed ultimately. And the standard's been set all year. As soon as that happens, if there's that, the high impact, the outcome being concussion, and then he left the ground. It was the way he did it. He was careless. It's just been 3 weeks, so I don't feel like they will appeal that. What do you think? Do you think Freo might appeal it?
Don't need to.
Oh, well, they do need to, because they need Alex Pearce, but if they appeal it and then they lose, it could risk getting an extra week.
Oh, yeah.
But
then who they would replace for captain? You wonder.
Oh, probably Brayshaw might stand in as captain, but he ain't going to go down and play centre half back or full back, so that's a big loss for them. But you can't have blokes getting concussed, and especially if you're leaving the ground the way he did. And unfortunately, his shoulder connected. He probably didn't intend for his shoulder to connect with his head, but it did, and it was pretty ugly. And now, when I was doing these show notes, it was speculation. However, now it's been published on the AFL website. But the Eagles forward Waterman's out now for the season with a shoulder injury. So that's not good for them, is it? They sort of had those two spearheads down forward with Waterman and who's the other fella? Oscar Allen, yeah. But now they're going to be one spearhead short, but that gives them an extra pick for the mid-season draft. I believe they've got pick number 1.
Yeah, probably.
And because they're on the bottom of the ladder, just whoever's on the bottom gets pick number 1. Second bottom gets pick number 2. If you've got a list spot available.
Oh, well, we don't we?
I don't think we do have a list spot available. There's the stuff there on Tanner Bruin, but
so
no one's really sure what's happening there. So
we have, we'll probably get about 14 or 13 if we...
pick 14 or pick 13. Yeah, but I don't think we've got a pick available, but that's okay. It's probably a good thing to not have a pick available. It means you've got a healthier list, which is good. But yeah, Waterman, that's a shame. He was going okay, wasn't he? In the games that we'd seen of them. What's next, mate?
Under the pump, is it?
Under the pump. Who's up first?
Ken Hinkley.
Oh. I actually thought...
Wait, I was saying bye to him this week.
Well, it's the bye round this week.
Yeah, bye,
and I had thought... Actually, I might tag a picture in here as well. It was... Start the car, and it's like Port Adelaide, start the car, and it's a picture of Josh Carr. Just saying, get him in, start the car, move Ken Hinkley on. But yeah, that was, I found that pretty amusing there, all the memes and things like that you'll come across on social media. But so Ken Hinkley, his position's almost untenable. It's going bad, and I thought, is he gone during the bye week? But that would be this week.
round 12.
They're probably not willing to make a move just yet, are they?
Or do you want to keep him for a whole season and say goodbye at the end of the season?
Yeah, that's right. Oh,
and then maybe
golly.
because then maybe you want him because if he might be coming close to a milestone of games. But we don't know that though. But if he is, well then you might want to keep him for a whole season.
I mean, they're not playing finals. They're in a world of pain. Butters may go. And then I look at their
Bloke, he's very old.
Oh yeah, but he's probably past it. Sadly for him. Wines, we spoke about them last week or the week before, but I look at their list and go, they're just in a massive hole. Like, who's their young guns that you're like, oh yeah, geez, I can't wait to see what he does in 50 games.
Rosie, he's still getting older.
Yeah, come on, Rosie, but he's not. He's a gun. He's
not a
young gun that you go, oh gosh.
Butters isn't either.
No, they're 23, 24. They're still super young, but they're not. It's not like they're 19.
They're not 20. Like Sam Way or.
Yeah, and you're like, oh wow, I can't wait to see him when he's played 70 odd games or 80 games. You know, so I just think, oh my gosh, who are their recruiting list managers and stuff like? They lost obviously Dan Houston there last year, which is
massive,
huge loss. You mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, I'm really worried about them. And then, do you bring Josh Carr in? Does it make a difference? Are they stuffed anyway moving forward when Josh Carr does come in because their list is really not in a good condition?
Well, Mitch Georgiades is a good forward. Oh, they do have a long gun.
Who's that?
Logan Evans. He's a defender, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, right, fair enough.
But yeah.
Well, looking at their next 5 games there, mate. They got GWS away, the D's at home, the Suns at home. Who was that one? The Blues at home and the Lions away.
Oh, well, probably win against them.
They could win maybe 2 of those. They could lose all 5.
What would that mean? That would be 4 and 12.
4 and 12. Yeah, they're not playing finals. Even if they win 2 of them and they go 6 and 10. They're in a world of pain. I don't want to keep talking about Port Adelaide every week. It's obvious, but it's just the speculation around the coaching and the succession plan they had. Yeah. Anyway.
So the first game they lost by 91 points, but then they won 1-3, and then they won 3 games in a row.
They showed a bit,
and then they lost 4 in a row again.
Yeah. I'm not holding out much hope for those Power supporters. Sorry, guys. Next one there, mate. This is a controversial one.
7-4 Hawks.
Well, the Hawks, yeah. I've thrown them under the pump. Controversially, I know, but they've dropped against more recently. Dropped games against the Suns in Darwin, that's very hard to beat the Suns up there.
Yeah, they've got an average winning margin of about 40.
They lost to the Lions at the G.
And Lions don't often win at the G.
No, they won the grand final, but you're right.
But that was against.
But they smashed the Hawks in the midfield. Smashed them. And we know the Hawks don't have Will Day at the moment.
And they can't win without Will Day.
No, they're a much better side with him there.
Or maybe he might be carrying it on his shoulders.
Yeah, he's got a sore back from carrying the side. But it does beg the question, what's happened to the Hawkball?
Hawkball?
Hawkball's in trouble.
I know.
So their next run of games is the Pies at the G, the Dogs
Dad
at Marvel, and the Crows in Tasmania.
Dad, you know what's the good thing about Hawkball?
What's that?
That we've bet them. We've
bet them. Yeah, we have. I'll tell you what, that list is growing now. No, there's a few teams now that have betting. So they got the Pies, the Dogs, the Crows. They could lose all 3 of those, or they could win 2, lose. They could
win 2, lose 2.
Lose 1, lose 2, win 1 to the Pies and the Dogs. So that'd put them 8 and 6, which is not top 4. But then their run home. This one's interesting. And this is towards the end of the year. But they've got the Freo away. What's Freo dishing up? They're dishing up a little bit of good stuff, a little bit of bad stuff.
I bet the Giants at Energy Stadium.
They got the Crows away. They got the Lions away, and they got the Pies again. So they got to play the Pies twice to finish off the season.
Well, no, but You know, in 2023, I'm pretty sure, wasn't the Pies going really well in 2023?
Yeah, they won the flag.
Yeah. And what happened was, they were insane, and then the Hawks came up against them, and they won by 5 goals.
Yeah, that was probably before the Hawks really hit their stride, wasn't it? That was towards the end of the year.
I know.
In 2024.
I feel like I could just tip the Hawks because they're very good against the Pies, I reckon.
It's interesting. But of those 7 games there that we've mentioned, I would see the Hawks potentially losing 6 of 7.
6 or 7.
Which the Hawks will play finals this year. They will play finals.
But it's a should.
I don't think it's top 4.
No, top 4. Well, currently, if the season had to end now, Geelong would have to play.
Giants, I think.
Yeah, and Hawthorn, who was 7?
That's a great question.
7, Giants, 7, Collingwood. Bob not 7.
Oh.
Okay.
They're starting to go alright though.
I know that.
Yeah. Anyway. And then next on there is Carlton. Jeez, they're unlucky to be under the pump again, but I think it's necessary.
Mm.
Now, we like watching Dan Gurringe and Ollie Gill on Dan Does Footy, and he has confirmed season over for Carlton. They're sitting 4 and 7. I mean, one of their biggest pluses at the moment, one of the biggest positives coming out of Carlton is that they've got the bye this week and they don't have to play.
Yeah.
So they can't let down their supporters. So that's a positive.
Yeah. You know, the last time they've came off the bye, they've actually won by about 10 goals. And guess who that was against?
Geelong.
I know it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, they actually will come off the bye against Essendon. So, is it Essendon? Yeah, it is Essendon. So I suspect they'll probably win that one.
Should.
They do have a lighter draw after the bye. So there's
the Cats do. Their bye.
They've got Bombers, Eagles, North, and Power.
That's pretty easy. Where's the Power?
Power's in Adelaide,
okay.
which they could lose. They could win all 4 and then be 8 and 7. But then the way they finish the season, Pies at home or Pies at the G, which is going to favour the Pies. Lions in Melbourne, the D's, the Hawks, Freo away, Suns at home. So they could lose literally 6 of those.
And
so I don't know. I don't know if they play finals or not.
They could go like 8 and 13.
Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. Look, I've just got some notes though. Very one-dimensional at the moment. The Blues. It's like Voss has got only one plan and like a plan A but no plan B. You know, super heavy on the contested footy, which you need to win your contested footy, but then gets exposed on the outside and can't get adequate delivery into their forward line, which does surprise me because I really rate at their winger, number 4. You got the 2 brothers there.
If Holland.
Yeah, I really rate him, Ollie Hollands, but they're just.
I remember when
struggling.
last year on 2023 or 24, he said, "I want to see how he's gonna go."
Yeah.
But how's he going?
I like watching him play, but they're just battling. You feel for old Paddy Cripper. You know, does he have to move on?
He's probably carrying him on their shoulders.
Oh, he does, and he's just absolutely battered his body for a very long time. And the last one there, mate, under the pump?
Saints.
So we spoke about them a little earlier with old Ross the Boss. Ross the Boss, he's the ultimate distractor, isn't he?
When?
Well, in press conferences, he'll deflect everything on St Kilda. He'll deflect it away and talk about anything else that will just take the heat off the Saints. They're just in big trouble. They are in big trouble. They got Melbourne in Alice. They've got the Dogs at Marvel. Now, the Saints play Marvel quite well, but they did just get done to the Suns at Marvel. Then they got the Pies at Marvel again. They got Freo away, Hawks at Marvel, Swans in Melbourne, and the Cats away. That's their next 7.
They could lose all of them.
They could lose all
4 and 14.
4 and 14. maybe 6 and 12.
That could be like power.
7 and 11. Oh, I don't know if the Saints play
They
finals
should
this year.
lose to Geelong at Kidding Park.
Take it in your park, yeah. I don't know if the Saints play finals this year.
Nah.
You've almost got a line through them.
For
Put a
sure.
line through West Coast, North Melbourne, Richmond, Port Adelaide, Saints just about, Carlton just about.
Melbourne just about.
Oh, yeah. Look, Melbourne's turned their season around
Yeah, Melbourne.
brilliantly. And do we have Melbourne there? Oh, we don't have Melbourne in the highlights, but we did speak about it.
We can put him in there if we want.
We can. Actually, we should talk about Cozzy Pickett. But, yeah, Saints, just about a line through the Saints. Just about. And now the highlights, mate. What do you reckon? What do we got there?
Murphy Reid.
Murphy Reid, yeah. So he kicked another bag of
4.
Yeah. In the wet too. So he's now kicked multiple bags of 4 in his first year. And there was some statistics there. There's only a handful of players that have done it, a few players. Tom Hawkins was one of them. There was a couple of others. I should have paid more attention. There was a couple of others. But so he's in rare company.
Wasn't Jeremy Cameron?
Jeremy Cameron was. Yes, he was. Yeah, 2012.
Was Toby Green beside him, or did he not get to that?
Not sure. There was a couple, but there was only a few. But yeah, in rare air, which is that's a real testament to him. He's going to be putting a lot of pressure on those All Australian selectors. He's already got his nomination, but
for Rising Star.
Oh, Rising Star. Sorry, yeah, not All Australian, but Rising Star. Yeah, you'll have him. Levi Ashcroft, Connor O'Sullivan, maybe Sam Laidlaw. There'll be quite a few up there.
Sam Laidlaw should be number 1 draft pick.
Oh, yeah, but that doesn't always... Depends how your season is.
How come?
It depends how your season is.
Why,
he's had a good year, but if there's other players that have performed better and done more, well, they'll get it. But Murphy Reid is knocking down the door, that's for sure. Yeah. Next one there, mate.
Gold Coast.
Humming along nicely. And I made a note there. They remind me of the Hawks from 2024. You know that they're actually exciting to watch. Like, I'm not a massive Gold Coast supporter, but I don't mind. I like watching them play footy. Their half back line is just unreal with John Noble, Joel Jeffries are there, and what's the ex-Richmond player? Rioli as well. They'd be scary to play against. Geelong's got them in a couple of weeks down at Kardinia Park. But,
next week.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They just run and carry the ball really fast, break the lines, and hurt opposition on the rebounds. So, yeah, good for them. That's great to see. They'll be playing finals this year. Super excited for that.
But hopefully they don't go out in straight sets. Otherwise,
that's if they finish top 4. They they could still finish top 4. I just think they'll slip to like 5th or 6th.
How come? Do you reckon they'll...
I don't know. I say they're young, but they're not young. They've got players that are like quite mature and stuff.
do you reckon they'll just fly?
I just feel like they might drop a couple in the second half of the year, maybe a couple of games, and maybe slide. But maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just keep on humming. They've had a great season.
Well, they'll make finals.
Oh yeah, they're playing finals.
What about 8 wins and 2 losses? I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, well, man, maybe even if they drop a couple, they won't slide. Jeez, if they're sitting that pretty. And they're still like 2 games behind, aren't they? Or 1 game behind.
Yeah.
With that, they'll play Essendon at the end of the year.
If teams having finals, they have 1 week break, but instead, if they're playing finals, well, they won't have a break. Week by week.
Yeah, that's going to be so interesting to see how that plays out, especially if they finish top 4. And then they don't essentially get a week off. Like, how do you... Yeah, I don't know. Do you just let your VFL side play?
Why would your VFL side play?
Well, actually, no, because there's still a lot on the line. You know, if they're sitting 3rd and Collingwood's sitting 2nd, and it's like by 1% or 3%, you know, 3%, and they know they got Essendon up at the Gold Coast Stadium. I'm packing that side top heavy. I want to knock Essendon off by 10 goals, so then we finish above Collingwood, and then Collingwood have to come up to the Gold Coast and play. Yeah, so there'll be a lot riding on that game, I think, at the time. But if it's a dead rubber, well, then you wonder how it's going to go. And then next there is Adelaide. Next there is Adelaide, sitting pretty in 4th.
Yeah.
So they're really starting to set up for finals footy, which is exciting for them because I don't believe they've been to the finals since 2017.
Yeah.
When they played in the granny and they had the power stance back in the day. And they've never recovered. Oh, it was like at work against Geelong, they played us in a prelim and they absolutely spanked us.
Well,
but they're all lining up this big power stance. They had whether it's AFL teams or footy teams or whatever that mob is in, and said that's a real good way just to you're sort of exerting your power over the opposition. No, it was like arms sort of part. I don't know. It was anyway. But then they had a off-season or a pre-season camp where I don't know. They had this group in to try and galvanise the team and try and move forward after the grand final loss, and I think some stuff went down and it was a bit hairy. And anyway, they've sort of suffered since then. But it looks like they may just about be ready to book their final spot. They need a few more wins.
So if the finals end now, they would have to play a Carlton.
Well, they'd be playing. Yeah, they'd be finishing fourth. But what's their next little? They've got the Swans, Lions, and Hawks. Hawks away, Lions at home, Swans away. So I mean, they could drop all three of those and then be sitting in 8th position or something, or sitting out of the 8th. So they could win a couple maybe, but that's a tough little block of footy they got there as well. But yeah, they're sitting pretty. The next one there is the Dash Brothers.
Well, Bailey Smith and Holmes.
Yeah, that's what they're calling them, the Dash Brothers. They combined for 66 disposals.
Yeah.
Bailey Smith had 32 or 33 and had 800 metres gained.
And Holmes had 33 too.
Yeah, and then a goal. And they're Geelong really haven't had players that
got disposals.
Got a lot of disposals. Yeah. Accumulators, you'd call them.
Dangerfield probably would have been one of our.
Yeah, back in 2016-17.
Yeah, remember when he got them 49 or 51 or 53 disposals or something?
Oh, he had 40 odd against North Melbourne. I went with a mate in 2016. It was like round 10, I think, or 11, and North Melbourne had won 8 or 9 in a row. They were flying, and Danger, they were up early in the game, and then Danger just turned it on. He had 40 odd, had, I don't know, 6, 7, 800, 900 metres gained and a couple of goals. It was just huge. But
did we win?
We did. But
was that a massive win too? It was
a good win. It was a good win.
Because we finally bet them run.
But we haven't had accumulators really since then. We've just had blokes that would get like 22, 23, 24 disposals. Mm-hmm. Atkins and, those sorts of guys in the middle. But now we've got a couple of blokes that are just bona fide midfielders. He hasn't
got under 27 touches since every game he's played.
He's had a hell of a season. Begs the question, I'd argue Nick Dacos is probably... squid. Nick Dacos is probably leading the Brownlow or Jordan Dawson, but you'd have to have Bailey Smith in contention for the Brownlow.
Easy.
Yeah, he's having a hell of a season. And then the last one there, mate, before we finish up, Angus
Clark
debuted for Essendon on Friday night, wasn't it? Dreamtime at the G. 3 goals, Rising Star nomination. And a big win. Not a bad way to start your footy career, is it?
Yeah.
So. And then, how'd you go on the weekend, mate? We better talk about you, yeah.
Me? Oh, I kicked 6.
Kicked 6?
Yeah.
You kicked 5 in the first?
Yeah.
Not bad. Had it on a string.
I kicked 6, 5.
And you filled in for the other Ammo's team on the Friday night?
Yeah, I kicked 2.
Snagged a couple. He calls it Ashy's paddock. Everyone just get out, leave me one out in the square.
I was loose for like 5 minutes, and then I told 2 people to get on me.
He gets the old Joe the Goose over the top.
No, and I also told 2 Dolphins players, I need 2 of them, you guys, to get on me.
Yeah, he was selling tickets, weren't you?
Yeah.
Tickets to the Ashton show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, alrighty, gang. I think that'll do us for another week, or at least for today. I think we might do a round preview on Thursday, will we?
Yeah.
I think we should.
After basketball. For me.
So we'll do a round preview and see who's shaping up. There is 4 teams missing this week because they got the bye round.
North Melbourne, Port Adelaide, Carlton.
Good for Port Adelaide to have a bye. They need one too, don't they? They're struggling.
No, Hawthorn I'm pretty sure.
Hawthorn as well. So the byes are starting anyway the next 2 or 3 weeks.
If Hawthorn have one, if Hawthorn have one, what's sort of bad for them? Why? Because then they could get... Because Couple teams.
Someone might overtake them, but then it'll even out once they've played and then everyone's had their bye.
Yeah, but then they might
about 3 weeks.
lose and then someone already overtaken them and it could end in.
Oh, it'll all work out. But we'll come back Thursday anyway and we'll do it all again for a round preview. Thanks for sticking around if you have. And please don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with your friends. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think we've hit 56 subscribers now, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't quite do that live at the footy on Thursday night. We tried. We did do a match day vlog, so go
But we
check that
can
out.
do one, but it just didn't load up.
The reception at GMHBA Stadium's absolutely
Bad.
rubbish. But yeah, please like, subscribe, all the rest of it, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yep.
See ya.
Yeah.